All right, everybody, I'd like to have your attention for a moment. You want to say a few words, Joe? It's what you're saying won't be on the tape. If you want to get it on tape, you'll have to come up here.
I've been coming in here, man and boy. In fact, my mother first brought me in. She left me on the doorstep here. No, but actually, this has been my home away from home. I've been in the old county building across the street for umpteen hundred years, and I've been coming in here since this place was remodeled. And Pop here has treated me as a son. And I wouldn't dare, my own conscience would never let me eat anywhere else every night that I work. And I've come in here religiously, not because I had to, but because I wanted to and I liked it. I was treated as one of the family. And I certainly am going to miss this place because it's been part of my life. Good luck to all of you.
All right. To start off, just introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Karen Paytash. Do I say how I'm related to you?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Costello is my grandson, and he is making me very proud with all his things that he's doing with film work and documentaries. And he said that he wanted to talk about the maple leaf. My grandfather, Theodore Spiropoulos, came over from Greece when he was 16 years old and met up with his brother who was already here. They worked together to come up with an idea that could make them both entrepreneurs. And they started a restaurant that was in Chicago, Illinois. Well, my dad was a pilot in World War II. He was on the USS Franklin. And when the war ended, he came home and went to work in the restaurant for my grandfather. And then as the years progressed, my grandfather finally sold his shares of the restaurant to my dad and mom, and they became the owners of the restaurant.
So do you want to just walk me around the table and
Sure.
show me what you got?
When we were making candy back in the candy room, there were many copper pots that the candy was made in, and this is one of the copper pots that still is not too coppery anymore, but this is one of the original copper pots that the candy was made in. The Maple Leaf was a family restaurant that today you would kind of compare it to Denny's or Village Inn, foods that are very basic but good. The reason the store was called the Maple Leaf was because one of my grandfather's friends that he brought over to work in the store was from Canada, and Maple Leaf is the flag, whatever, something very symbolic for the Canadian people. So to honor the candy maker, he named the store the Maple Leaf. People loved going there because we had several of the employees had been there for so many years, but people liked to come back and always know who was going to be waiting on them. I worked there for one whole summer and really had a ball because it was 2 blocks from LaSalle Street Station, and the sailors would come in, and it was lots of fun to be able to be a waitress and see all the sailors in their white uniforms.
As all of you know, I'm the oldest employee, and I'm very proud of it. And Mr. and Mrs. Spurs have made me very happy throughout all the years I've worked for them. That's why I've stayed here. And if anyone should ask me, would I do it over again, I would say yes, if I had that many more years to live.
Thank you, Bill. There's a couple of boys in the second booth. I think I'm going to nail them for a word. Maybe you have something you'd like to say about the Maple Leaf. They represent a grand group of guys who have been very faithful to us. I don't know how many are in their office, and I won't mention the company that they work for.
Well, since he won't mention who we work for, we're with the FBI, George and I. And we've been coming in here for about 14 years. We started out in the Bankers Building. We've enjoyed it a whole lot.
Everybody it was just great. It was easygoing, no pressure, good food, good company. It was just a great place to be. It started in 1910, and then in 1967, they said to my father, "We are no longer going to lease the restaurant to you. We want a percentage of the restaurant. So whatever your sales are, we will set a percentage rate, and we want you to pay a percentage of the profits." And my father did not agree with that way that they wanted to redo it. And with much discussion, going back and going forth, they could never come up with a happy decision that would be right for everybody. And my family felt that the only way that they could accept would be to close the store, because the other way, with the percentage, it would not be profitable.
Do you know how, like, your dad and your grandpa felt about the store closing? Was the family, like, angry, upset, or were they, like, ready for it to close and move on to the next thing?
Well, I'm going to leave this to you, because your uncle Mark made a tape of my dad's closing remarks of the restaurant, and it's a live tape. And I'm going to let you have it and listen to it. And you probably can tell from his expressions or things that he said how he feels. I think the saddest part for my father was to leave all the people behind that had been employed by our restaurant for all those years. And here are some of the recipes from my dad. He wrote down all the recipes for fudge and caramel apples. I can remember, the caramel apples that we used to have when he would bring them home from the store, and hot fudge, and all the things that our family made at the restaurant and were well known for in the Chicago area. All are here in some of the recipes.
And then, so there was the store closing party. Can you tell me more about that?
You know, all the people were invited, employees were invited, customers were invited. My grandma and grandpa were there. It was a big event, and it was very meaningful for all of them. And I'm sure there were a lot of tears shed at that closing party. And it's hard for me to talk about, because I am very upset with myself today that I wasn't there. If there's one regret in my life, that's my biggest regret, was not to be with my folks on the closing of the store.
This is a sad occasion to have to be present at a situation of this type, where you see a person that's been a successful person in business, and one who's contributed to the community and done an excellent job. And it's just pathetic to have to see this man, let's say, retire from business forcibly. And I only hope that he can change his mind and find a location in this area so we can have them back with us again. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
But I'd like to say now just a few words, and in this I know that I'm speaking for every employee in the Maple Leaf. It's been Pop and Mom and Ted and Marion who have kept this business going. It's they who have put in 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day. Not us. We put in our 8-hour shift, and if we had to stay 10 minutes over, we bitched and griped. Right, isn't that right? Right. We got all the benefits. They had all the headaches, all the worries. They were the ones who had to get information, correlate information, worry about prices, worry about cost, and they're the ones that solved all these millions of problems to keep this a good business and make for us a good means of making a living. And it's for what they've done for us that we've said thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
When the store closed, see, a lot of this is like a little gray area for me because I was at college and just got married in 1970. And so I wasn't closely associated with all the family dynamics in our home. But supposedly the store in the basement, there was an explosion and everything, it wasn't supposedly, it happened. The explosion blew up the whole store and the whole block that it was on was totally destroyed. My first reactions were I just could not believe that something like that, of that magnitude, could happen. And then it even looked worse when I saw the pictures. And they questioned my dad about it, and he told them the reason why was the location of the gas lines in relationship to something like the parking lot area, and had to take them into the basement and show them where all the gas lines were. And they realized that that was the cause of the explosion and not anything to do with anybody else, not my father or my family. We were not involved in the explosion.
So they thought he was like a suspect.
He was for a little while. I don't know for how long, because like I said, I wasn't there, but I know it caused a little bit of nervousness with the family, but everything worked out. I know that my parents talked about it for a very long time, and it made the family very unhappy that the whole building was gone and the whole history for 57 years of the Maple Leaf was gone. This is one of the original boxes of candy from the Maple Leaf. One that I wish I had saved the box for was called The Three Sisters, and it said the Maple Leaf, and it said the Three Sister assortment, and it had 3 different kinds of candy divided in the box that he honored his daughters with and named it after them.
So that was named after you?
This and that wasn't, but right. The 3 boxes of candy, the Three Sisters, was named after myself, my sister Sherry, and Aunt Linda. And then here is a picture of my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, Papuli, and my mom on the closing of the store at the banquet.
Why do you think it's important to remember that aspect of our family history?
I always feel like that all children should know about where they came from, what was important to their father, to their grandfather, to their grandmother. They should all know something about their family. And I just wish the store had been around longer so a lot of my grandchildren could have been exposed to it, because it was a happy time for me when I was growing up. I just think all families need to share the depth of their family with the younger generation. I think so many, I mean, when we were growing up, we did family gatherings every like 3 months. We were all getting together, but we lived closer together. That's one of the bad things about today. Everybody living farther away, not even half an hour close by. When you get to be 75 and you're thinking about how much farther am I going to be around, much longer, I worry that I haven't told enough of my background so that everybody knows. And that scares me, that my life would be over before I shared it all.
Believe it or not, I've only been here, I worked for a year and a half at the Maple Leaf. And I met my lovely wife at the Maple Leaf. It was stool number 4, as I told you, right there somewhere, that my wife, she came down here. She had more breaks. I don't know how she got away with it with her bosses, because she had more breaks than anybody I know. I was nailed to the wall. I feel a part of the Maple Leaf. Last Sunday, you won't believe this, but I mean, I cried. I cried at all the formalities of the Maple Leaf closing.
The Maple Leaf family reminds me of my old air group during the Second World War. We were overtrained and overworked, and we loved it. And when our group was disbanded and we were all sent to other squadrons, we were never as good. We never had the same pride as we had when we all trained and worked together. I hope that your association with us will have motivated you to go on and do better for the next employer, whoever he may be. We cannot thank you enough for help making us great, and many will try to copy or accomplish what we have done, but few will achieve it. Thank you.